Hello, welcome back to this channel. Today's going to be a very fun video piece. Today, we're going to be talking about everything you need to know about germinating plants. Now, almost every day, I get a comment asking, what plants do you recommend for germinating inside? Because at the end of the day, once we hit this season, everyone's very, very excited and almost impatient, like myself, to start growing. So I probably started a lot of this too early, but at the end of the day, growing plants is one of the most rewarding things you could possibly do ever. And I really do want to show you guys some great recommendations I have for you guys. A lot of plants that I recommend starting outside and germinating outside, and a lot of plants I do really strongly recommend to either buy from a greenhouse, a local nursery, or I recommend germinating them indoors and starting them like the plants you see behind me. We'll be talking about a lot of things, and we'll also be talking about supplies and great supplies to really make this work as best as possible. So before we do go and start today's video, please subscribe, hit the bell notification on all so you not miss our video, and please like this video. Let's go to start today's video. Now, here's basically everything I'm working with in here. There are a lot of other plants I'm working with a little bit differently, which I'll kind of show you guys in a second. But I have about 3 main single type of pots, almost, where one seedling will go in a certain area in this pot. Like, for an example, I'm using them to germinate the cilantro. I'm using the other pots to grow like just separate plants like this. They're each just tray, each cup, just different things can help with different things. Let me be a little bit more specific. With like these types of plants, those pots are great for like one strawberry, which I'm growing all the way over in that plant shelf over there. But these are great for like one plant and one plant only, where you can see right there. And then these are perfect for your bigger type of plants. So I'm also growing I'm growing these. These aren't really going outside, but that's kind of a great example of what I'm using them for. Now, those don't have any holes in them, but these I've gone to drill, and I ended up doing 2 on the bottom and about 3 on the sides. You can kind of see there. Now, I will say, when you're kind of putting it down like a flat surface like this tray, the bottom drainage does not work at all. So I really don't recommend getting something like that. If you are on the budget, I would consider looking into that. But these are probably one of your best options, even though they're going to be a little bit smaller. These are also a great option, but I have found that these are a little bit more fragile. I'm also using a tray on every single one. So like these I'm growing, it's basically great drip tray and watering tray. So if you're either going to be like on a trip, if you're going out of town, it's a great area where you can just kind of fill it up with water. You can kind of see each area right here is slightly full of water. So sometimes here and there, if I am going on a trip or I won't be in the room for a few days, I will fill these up a little bit more than usual, and then usually the plants will absolutely thrive off of those. So I also am using these smaller trays. You can kind of see the size of them right there. These are a pretty cheap option too. Those really work great with like lettuce. So I'm growing a little bit right there, and I'm growing a little bit right there. Also, make sure to water your plants, because some of these are going to kind of look like they're falling over almost just because they're extremely underwatered, or just other factors could be kind of stressing out the plants where they don't really thrive as best. But just at the end of the day, what I think is one of the most important is what you grow it in. Then something extremely important is soil. So I am using 2 different mixes in the room. I'm using just plain coconut coir, and then I'm also using topsoil. Well, that's kind of what I'm talking. That's what I'm calling it almost. It is basically just a really rich nutrients mix. I'm only doing 3 things in it: a little bit of compost, a lot of perlite, and a lot of coconut coir. Now, at the end of the day, if you're on a budget, I just recommend coconut coir. I do all my microgreens in only coconut coir, and those plants that don't need microgreen or don't need that much nutrients, or you do have liquid nutrients, I really strongly just recommend doing something plain like that, because this does dry very, very well, especially if you have good airflow in your greenhouse. So now that we've talked about two of the main factors, let's go ahead and just talk about plants and what plants I recommend you starting indoors and what plants I recommend starting just outdoors. Now, really quickly, let's just start with outdoors because I have everything kind of mixed up right here. Now, it's just going to be those plants that really don't like to be transplanted. So like sugar peas grow absolutely incredibly quickly. So I do recommend soaking these about 24 hours before they do go outside. It will really help with germination to be a lot quicker, and it'll really help germination be a lot more successful. I also recommend starting garlic and onions outside, and then a lot of other bigger plants like sunflowers, cucumbers, just plants that don't like to be transplanted whatsoever. Radish is a big one. Just those classic plants that grow underground, especially those. But I don't really have the seed packets kind of laid out, but I'm just going to kind of walk through this area and kind of recommend the ones I recommend to go outside. So some of these theoretically don't really need to be started indoors, but most of them I am. So I will also say this, a lot of places do sell a lot of these plants. So if you go up to like Lowe's or like a local nursery, every single place will sell these plants. So if you guys don't either have the setup or if you don't have the room to do something like this, at this point just grab the seeds, start them outside, or just buy them from a normal greenhouse. You don't have to have this step. It's just if you want to get an early start into your season and have a lot better of a harvest outside and a lot more plants growing outside, I really do recommend starting them indoors. So I'm basically starting almost every single flower that is going outside except sunflowers has already started in here, and you can see a lot are down there and a lot have already gone outside. I'm also doing I'm basically doing all my herbs and lettuce out in here. So I'm growing Tango, Grand Leaf, Red Ruby, Butter Crunch. Down here I'm growing Black Simpson, Romaine, Gourmet Mix, and then Oak Leaf. Then I'm also growing bigger plants in here that I've learned that just do better indoors when you can start them a little bit earlier. So I'm doing tomatoes and peppers. I'm also doing some, basically strawberries also. So that is exciting. And then I'm also growing some other plants in here because I do a lot of testing also in here to really just learn a lot more plants. Then another plant I really do recommend is cilantro, because cilantro doesn't have the best germination outside. Going all the way down here, a lot of stuff I'm germinating. Some of this stuff I really never germinated before. So broccoli needs to be watered really bad. Basil, I've grown in here fully before, but I've never grown it and then transplanted it outside. Same with spinach. Same with basically all of these. That is lemongrass right there, and that is bunching onions. And then, yeah, definitely a lot of plants I'm growing in here. And if you guys do want me to focus on a plant like tomatoes, lettuce, and just growing it inside, please comment down what plant you want me to focus on, and I'd really love to really just focus on that plant for one video. And yeah, thank you so much for watching today's video. This is going to be the end of the video. So if you guys like these types of videos, please subscribe, hit the bell notification on all so you not miss a video, and please like this video. I really do want to thank you all so incredibly much for watching today's video and supporting the channel, and I'll see you guys tomorrow when we post next. Peace.